Hello, Gospel 107 family. It's Tachi, and I am ecstatic to be back. Yes, you're going to be able to catch Mediascope now that I'm back. All full episodes of Mediascope at 2 p.m. Eastern Time instead of 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So we'll have all the great media, tech, and pop culture news that's happening in the world, in addition to the wonderful guests that I have lined up for you this season. It's season 9. Aren't you excited? I know I am. So sit back, get pen and paper, and bring your listening ears and get ready to experience the media, tech, and pop culture journey with me. I will see you soon on the airwaves. Cheers. What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another riveting week of Mediascope, all things media, tech, and pop culture. My name is Tachi, and of course, you probably already know this. I am also all things media, tech, and pop culture. I'm a media professor, filmmaker, media content producer, and also a journalist. And I am your guide on this journey through media, tech, and pop culture. And I'm happy to be back. Welcome back, everyone. I hope all is well in your world. Full disclosure, this show today is specifically for my Gospel 107.1 FM family in Nassau, Bahamas, and the rest of the Caribbean. Yes, I did not do, we're doing our show today, Thursday, but it will be after the time that after 2 o'clock. So guess what? You get a special show all to yourselves with me today. And I'm happy to do that for you all. Let me know how you all are doing, what's going on, things that you like. You know, I'm interested in the types of media, tech, and pop culture stories that are happening in your neck of the woods. I don't always get apprised, I should say, of what's happening in the Caribbean. So I would love to hear from you if there are some media, tech, and pop culture stories that are interesting, of interest. I already have people DMing me on Instagram with stories anyway, and I'm like, hey, thanks. So if you do, you can actually get at me on Instagram at Dr_TACHI, Dr_Tachi. And yeah, let me know what's happening in the Caribbean, because again, you're like boots on the ground. So I can find out from you. If you're interested in doing that, I would love to hear about that. We may even do a whole little section of media, tech, and pop culture news from the Caribbean. What's happening there? And I know lots is happening. All right. Well, you have me all to yourself. So rather than yapping, let's get to it, shall we? We have a lot of great news for you today, and we're going to start with media as per usual. Here we go. Okay, well, unless you've been living under some sort of rock or big heavy turtle, you probably know very well what is happening with the crumbling empire of the person known as Sean Combs, or Sean Diddy Combs. Back in the day, if you're a New Yorker like I am, everybody called him Puffy. I still call him Puffy, but now I call him nothing because I think he is despicable per the allegations. So anyway, let's talk about this. If you did not know, he founded a media company called Revolt. Now, I don't know if in the Caribbean you get Revolt on your, not your airwaves, but if you are able to pick up Revolt. But it's primarily music. There's some popular culture things, and it really is dealing with Black culture, particularly Black American culture. Well, he founded this, I believe it was in 2013. Yep, he founded Revolt in 2013. Well, because of all the woes, the legal woes he is facing, and the rightful cancellations, he sold his majority stake in Revolt, which again is the media company and TV network that he founded in 2013. Now, this is according to the company and to CNN. It is, and you know, the tragedy about this is we all need to start being more careful with how we behave, because our behavior affects other people, and not just the immediate other people, but community at large. And I'm saying that because this is a Black-owned multi-platform media company. There are not many Black-owned multi-platform media companies. There are some, but not a whole lot, and not on the level that Revolt was or is still. Okay. So now they've announced that the second largest shareholder group is its own employees. So it was Diddy before, now it's its employees. So they said this in a press release, and a spokesperson said that the new ownership model, quote, the new ownership model ensures that employees who are driving the company's growth can also benefit from its success, aligning with an emerging industry trend of equity participation. So the CEO of Revolt is Datavio Samuels, and he says this: today we are most proud of the transformation that our teams will experience as they shift from being employees to owners of the business they are helping to build. Black culture is global culture, and Revolt's superpower is being the home for creators that moves culture globally, allowing us to build the most powerful storytelling engine for Black voices. Well, I hope that's still true. And I'm not trying to throw any shade Revolt's way, but, and I don't know, nothing has come out about this, but usually bad behavior starts at the top and trickles on through the bottom. So again, I have not heard any allegations of ill treatment or anything for people who work at Revolt. I don't know. But I do know that if you have a figurehead that behaves in deplorable ways, often there's not very much reprimand when other people within the company behave in reprehensible ways also. Again, this is just speculation. I am not saying this is the thing. And let me just put in there allegedly to cover myself and to cover you all as well. But it's a shame, as I said, because when you don't have very many Black owned platforms, it is a tragedy when you have something that happens at one of the few that we have. And this is why I say your behavior directly and indirectly affects other people. So watch how you behave. Watch how you behave, particularly when you have an outfit like this. I'm telling you, to whom much is given, much is required. We've heard that before, right? And so owning a media company where you are telling the stories of people to a wide global audience, that is a heavy burden. That is a big hat to put on your head, and you should not take it lightly, which is why you have to watch how you behave. I mean, shameless plug, I think you all know that I have a media company as well, Indie Soup Media, and it is an OTT network, TV network, and also online. And we've got like 30 creators that we have like 30 shows, and I'm trying to find where I'm going to fit everybody, which is a good problem to have. But I also realize that the way I approach things and my behavior affects other people. Vice versa, creators know that if they behave in ways that are reprehensible, that could affect us as well. And so when you are tasked and given the privilege, because it is truly a privilege and an honor to be able to serve the public with great shows, great commentary, and to tell people stories, you ought to take that seriously. That's all I'll say. So we'll see what happens with this, but let me continue on. So this was a rep for Revolt that spoke, but a rep for Sean Diddy Combs has not immediately responded to CNN's request. So in November, he stepped down as chair of Revolt after he was named in several civil lawsuits where he'd been accused of assault and other illegal activity. And he has denied the claims from many of the civil suits, but has not responded to all of the allegations. Now, here's the thing. The biggest piece of information, and I don't know if you all saw it, I could not watch it because it is very disturbing, of where there was a 2016 surveillance video that CNN published that showed him, Sean Combs, physically assaulting Cassie Ventura, who was a former girlfriend who filed a now settled civil suit against Combs last year in November. Okay, so they settled that, but now I'm sure you all know this surveillance video has been unearthed which showed her being viciously attacked. And so that there has really, if people were not in belief that he could do these things before, once they saw that, they had belief. And that's when you have to act. You can no longer not act when you see something so egregious. So if you don't know, he apologized for his actions in the video after the report was first published, 2 days after the report was first published. So we'll see what happens with this. But for now, the story is that, of course, Sean Combs stepped down as the chairman of Revolt, but that was last year. But he has sold his majority stake. So he stepped down as the CEO, as the chair, but he still had a majority stake. Now the majority stake is with the employees. So more to come on this as we talk. All right, if you are just joining, welcome everyone. This is Mediascope, all things media, tech, and pop culture. My name is Tachi, also known as Dr. Tachi, but Tachi is fine. No need to be formal. We're all family here. We are here every Wednesday on live stream and on Indie Soup Media at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. And then you all get to hear what we talked about, and you can actually play along. If that makes any sense, you can make comments on the YouTube channels. And of course, you can listen on Gospel 107.1 FM, Nassau, Bahamas, the rest of the Caribbean, 2 p.m. on Thursdays. So you get it. And that's, for those of you who don't know, remember, we were at 8 p.m. on Thursdays. We've been moved to 2 p.m. on Thursdays. So take a listen. Take a listen. All right. And we're happy to have you here. I have to say that. And I'm still looking for a gospel song. I need one that's like really good where I won't get dinged. That's what I need. Although I do have a CSAC license, so I may be able to use something and be okay with it. We'll see. I'll let you all know. All right, moving on. Another news off of Diddy. Let's talk about what's happening at Max. For those of you who don't know Max is formerly HBO, which then became HBO Max, which is now just Max. And again, let me know. I really would love to know, do you all get HBO Max or now Max in where you are? Let me know. Well, if you do, you're not going to be happy. And if you have a subscription, you're not going to be happy because they are raising their prices. That's right. They are raising the subscription prices. They announced this 2 days ago on Tuesday, and it's a series of price hikes that they actually announced. So effective Tuesday, the monthly cost of the ad-free plan increased by $1 per month. So now you are paying $16.99 a month. Sheesh. Egads. $16.99 a month. I don't know how people eat if they're doing this. The yearly ad-free plan will increase by $20 to $169.99 annually. So call it $170 annually. So you could pay for it annually. And I guess maybe there is savings, obviously, when you pay for it yearly. And you probably don't feel the pinch of, sheesh, another $16.99, call it $17 this month. So if you have a little bit of cash and HBO or any subscription service is something that you value, if you could do the yearly plan, number one, you will get savings. Number two, you won't have to think about it every month. You won't have to think about renewing it until the next year, in which case, but then, there's also the thing too, you could pay for it for the year and nothing you like comes on and then it ends up being a waste. But you will know not to make that mistake again. But anyway, that's just a suggestion. If these subscriptions are something that you value, even if it's not media, even if it is an enterprise product that you use for work, something like a Canva, etc., there is always a discount off of the yearly plan. So always do that if you can. And then you also don't have to worry about it monthly. So word from the not so wise, because I'm not claiming to be wise, just telling you what works for me. So now The Max with Ads plan. Now, this is for without ads, but the Max with Ads plan is unchanged. It's $9.99 a month or $99 per year. Listen, if I really liked HBO like that and there was something I wanted to watch, that's probably what I would do because I am okay with ads. Ads are what pay for things. And I think we have come to the realization or our own realization that everything should be free. No, ma'am, no, sir. Who told you that? Somebody has to pay for these things somehow. So I'm okay with watching ads. And if you don't want to watch ads, then I don't know, you pay the subscription so you don't have to. But there is a with ads plan. Yeah, really, currently, there's nothing really that is pulling me to want to watch HBO. So I wouldn't be doing $99 per year for that. But if you are, the ad with ads plan has not changed. So Max said that existing subscribers are going to be notified 30 days in advance of their plan renewing, and you will see the price increases starting from the next billing cycle on or after July 4th. So next month, you will see that increase. Current yearly subscribers will not see an increase until renewal. So again, if you're a yearly subscriber, you won't see an increase until then. So which follows that if you were going to do the yearly plan for less, you probably should have done it prior to June 4th. But anyway, so let's talk about, I don't know if you have it in the Caribbean, as I said, but let me know. So Max just launched service in 20 European countries. I don't know all the countries, but they are in Europe. And I know they're in the Caribbean, but I don't think every Caribbean island has access to Max. But let me know if you do. Let me know. I would imagine the hotels anyway would have access to some of those things. Anyway, let me know. All right. So off of Max, let's talk a little bit about audio. Let's talk Spotify. If you like the Max price hike, you're going to love the Spotify price hike. Yay. So for those of you who are unaware, Spotify is a music listening or music streaming service where you can subscribe and get access to music. You can shuffle songs. You can create playlists. Spotify is actually how I listen to a lot of music. I grew up in the CD era, obviously, and I used to work in radio. I used to work for a radio station. So I have a plethora of great CDs, but really no way to play them because I still have a DVD player. Is it plugged in? No. So, and I'm okay, let me stop lying. I do have a CD player in my car, but I'm not trying to drag CDs to listen in the car. I use my phone. I use either, I'll listen to YouTube, music on YouTube. I will listen to Spotify most of the time. Some on-air radio stations that, like, I love jazz music. So there is a station in Toronto, Ontario called Jazz FM that I really, really like. So I will tune into their website and plug it into my car. But other than that, I'm not using CDs, but I'm not paying, and I refuse to pay for music, for Spotify. I'll take the ads. Even though there are a bunch of them, I will take them. So if you don't like ads, you're not going to like this. Spotify has announced another price hike for subscribers in the US. And this was just a day after CEO Daniel Ek sparked online backlash with a post on X, formerly Twitter, that suggested that the music millions of subscribers paid to listen to was content that had little value. Sometimes you don't always have to speak, people. And if you are going to open your mouth, I would hope that you are well informed and think before you say things. Of course, that's going to spark backlash. So he outraged, let me tell you what the post said, and this was just 4 days ago on June 2nd. He said in a post, "Today, with the cost of creating content being close to zero, people can share an incredible amount of content." He continued by talking about the lifespan of big ideas in art, but it was the close to zero line that got everyone's attention. So he said, let's see. I'm looking on X, actually. He said While much of what we see and hear today quickly becomes obsolete, there are timeless ideas or even pieces of music that can remain relevant for decades or even centuries. Um, for example, I'm looking to see where that close to zero line is, and I don't. Oh, here it is. Yes, in the beginning, that's what I'm talking about, the close to zero today, with the cost of creating content being close to zero. Well, somebody's paying for it. I would have said next to nothing, or how about very low cost. You don't have to say next to zero, but apparently this sparked a little bit of outrage because users condemned him and Spotify, um, for that. And he said, I, for one, don't, a singer who was one of the many musicians who clapped back, said, I, for one, don't make content. I make music. Okay, well, music is content. So I don't know that I understand the backlash. I don't think there was ill intent behind it. And I think we're in an age where people are ready to be outraged over the wrong thing. There are things to be outraged over in the world right now. And I don't think that's one of them. But what am I talking about? Hashtag developed world problems. Anyway. We're going to keep going. But they are raising prices once again. Premium plan for one user jumps by $1 to $11.99. The duo plan jumps by $2 monthly to $16.99. And the family plan gets the biggest increase at $3 to $19.99 a month. But if you are a student and you have the student plan, it's safe. It is still just $5.99 a month. But you have to show that you are actually a student. You can't just say, oh, I want the student plan. You have to prove it. Okay, so those are the two price hikes. We've got HBO Max and we've got Spotify. And you know what? We're not done hiking prices, I'm sure, yet. So look out for some of your favorite services to be probably considering price increases as they look for more ways to increase their revenue. Yeah. All right, let's talk a little bit more about media. Let's talk about radio and all black led sports radio in Detroit. This is interesting. So, the first all black led sports radio station has hit Detroit airwaves. Well, congratulations, first of all. And this was in Southfield, Michigan, which is a suburb of Detroit. And Detroit is a city of firsts all the way around. So the latest first, of course, is this radio station. And Rob Parker is the owner of this radio station. He says this is history making, it's groundbreaking, and we just believe that the time has come. So he's a former Detroit sports anchor, and he launched, it's called Sports Rap Radio on AM 1270, so it's an AM station, and this just launched on Tuesday. So it features all black hosts, and this is a first in radio station that features all black hosts. It is a first that for the city of Detroit, but across the country. Now, this is interesting because you all know I went to Howard University, and we have WHUR there, which is Howard University Radio. It started on the campus of Howard University by Kathy Hughes, who is a media mogul. She started Radio One and then, of course, TV One. And that is black owned, but maybe they did not have all black hosts when they started. I'm not sure. And if I'm not mistaken, WHUR started in the 70s. I can't remember. But in any case, this is groundbreaking, and congrats for them. And Parker says this: just 4 years ago, there were no black full-time sports hosts on the radio in Detroit, in a city that's nearly 80% black. I looked at that as a problem. He found the solution, but he said he couldn't do it alone. He assembled a team of co-owners, including his longtime friend Dave Kenny, who was also a former NBA player, BJ Armstrong, and former Detroit Country Day football star and University of Michigan wide receiver, Maurice Mo Ways. And that's the way to do it, ladies and gentlemen. We constantly complain about lack of ownership, and in this country anyway, in the US, lack of black ownership. But I think the problem is everyone is trying to do this by themselves on their own in a silo. We love silos, don't we? We love to be by ourselves on our own in the corner without help. Why? Why, when we are so much stronger together? So this move makes perfect sense. Yes, we want more black ownership of radio stations, television stations, platforms, media in general, but we have to realize that this is not something that we can do alone, and it pays to go into a partnership, or in whatever that partnership looks like. Very cool. So congrats to you, Rob Parker, and to your new radio station, AM 1270 Sports Rap Radio. So, okay, let me correct myself. I think I see what the thing is now. So it's a sports station. So this is the first all or black owned sports radio station with all black hosts. So, okay, that makes sense now. So good for you. Congratulations. All right. Do you all remember American Gladiators? I'm sure you got it where you are. So American Gladiators was a competition series that ran in syndication from in 1989 to 1986. So there were all these like challenges there, athletic challenges that you had to go through. I used to love American Gladiators. Of course, I was young at the time, but I loved it. And then it went off the air. But guess what? They are coming back. This time they're coming to Prime Video, which is Amazon. So the Amazon owned streaming service says they have picked up a reboot of the classic competition series American Gladiators, with a nationwide search that is now underway for contestants to take on the professional gladiators in a custom built arena. You know what? This should be fun. So the arena is going to have new challenges. So Google American Gladiators, and you'll probably be able to see some past episodes on YouTube if you don't know what I'm talking about, and at least a description. So there are going to be some new challenges as well as some classics from the original series, like the Gauntlet, Hang Tough, and the Eliminator. Oh wow! Can you tell I'm excited? You all are probably looking at, okay, that's the radio, like, okay, but this is exciting. If you like those types of competition shows, this is something you will like. So we knew this was going to happen in April when Range Sports signed the Gladiators creator Johnny Ferraro with plans to develop this across TV, film, attractions, merchandise, and live events. So when that happened, we knew that there probably was going to be a reboot of American Gladiators. So let me give you a description if you don't know what it is. Gladiators is an enduring physical challenge format that continues to engage families around the world. And this is according to Lauren Anderson, who is the head of brand and content innovation for Amazon MGM Studios. We look forward to delighting, not just engaging, but delighting our global Prime Video customers with both reimagined and nostalgic elements that celebrate the best of the original series. Well, good for you. That is awesome and fun. All right. Well, for those of you that are interested, we are going to get a reboot of American Gladiators. Yay, yay, yay. I think that's kind of fun. All right. Just a few bites for you. If you are a fan of the show The Voice, you probably noticed that Adam Levine of Maroon 5 fame has been absent for the past 6 years. Now, I can't say that I noticed he was gone because I stopped watching The Voice a long time ago. After a few seasons of these competition shows, I find I'm less engaged with them. So I'm not watching. Even if you watch the first season of XYZ competition reality show, by season 2, I'm like, yeah, okay, that's enough. Like, I haven't watched American Idol. Is that even still on? I think it is. But yeah, past like the old seasons, I stopped watching. So I didn't notice that you were gone. No shade, Adam Levine, but we love you in Maroon 5. So he announced his return to The Voice after a 6-year hiatus. He's one of the Voice originals. He's reclaiming his red chair. And this is a new chapter in the show's history. So he's going to come back in the spring 2025 season, which is actually going to be season 27 of The Voice. And this really sent shockwaves through the fan base because he's really charismatic. He's fair in his critiques, and he's a staple of the show. So I'm sure that fans are happy to see him back. So who's going to be on the panel with him? John Legend, Michael Bublé, and a new face, Kelsea Ballerini. She's a Grammy nominated artist, and she's no stranger to The Voice because she was previously a battle advisor. You know how they do the different battles? Yeah. So he left in 2019. That left a void on the show. But, people are looking for him to come back. And especially if you ever watched the show, he had this like little playful rivalry with Blake Shelton. And that was a highlight of the show. And it's hard when people that are your favorites leave a show. Well, he's back now. So similar to how The Daily Show has Jon Stewart back. If you remember, Jon Stewart was the host of The Daily Show on Comedy Central for years and years before Trevor Noah took over. And I love Trevor Noah. But now that Trevor Noah has left, he is back. Jon Stewart is back, but he's part of a rotating list of guests. And, here's the thing. I don't know about you, but I tend to fall asleep early, or I'm doing something and I forget that some of these shows are on. So I'm going to make it my business to watch The Daily Show and see how Jon Stewart is doing. But if he's anything like he was and he's still on point, I'm sure it is a delightful, heard what I said there? Delightful viewing experience. All right, folks, let me take a break to say, hey, how are you? Happy afternoon. Happy Thursday. My name is Tachi, media professor, filmmaker, media content producer, also a journalist. This is Mediascope, all things media, tech, and pop culture. We're here on Wednesdays on streaming, 6 p.m. Eastern time. I think I said 6:30 before. I don't know where that came from. But 6 p.m. Eastern time and 2 p.m. Eastern time on Thursdays on Gospel 107.1 FM in the Bahamas. Nassau, Bahamas, and the rest of the Caribbean. And I also wish you a multitude of blessings. Yeah, in case you all in the Bahamas did not know, I get messages from people who listen to Gospel 107, but they live in Jamaica or they live in Barbados. So that's why I say and the rest of the Caribbean, because even though terrestrially you may be listening on an actual radio set in the Bahamas, there are people who I think listen online. And correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe they're listening on the radio. Maybe you are, but I know I've got some listeners in the other islands as well. And as you know, the Bahamas holds a special place in my heart, as does Jamaica, because I taught in Jamaica and I taught in the Bahamas. The former university I taught at had programs in the Caribbean, and so I would fly on weekends and teach there, and I love my Caribbean students so much. Listen, if my American students let me down, I knew I could fly, and my Caribbean students would do what they were supposed to do. So thank you, Bahamas, and thank you, Jamaica, for having such studious individuals and serious about their studies. Thank you. All right. Let's move on because we don't have a lot of time left, and I want to make sure that I get in some good things. Let's talk a little bit about Netflix. There's a study that Netflix is licensing far fewer films these days. What does that mean? Somebody has a film that they've made, and when people make films or television shows, what's the goal? For it to get purchased or acquired by a larger media company. Many people see the promise in streaming, and many of them have gone to Netflix. This is the first thing you hear, folks. People are always like, oh yeah, I'm trying to get my show picked up by Netflix, right? Because let's be honest, network television is not necessarily the way anymore. So the CBS, NBC, ABC, Foxes of the world, their importance is waning. They're still important, but not as much as these new mediums like streaming. Even cable is, kind of waning, but cable is stronger than broadcast. And streaming is very strong, right? And all of this is led by consumer choice. You have choices. Um, Broadcast doesn't really give you very much choice in terms of, okay, this is what we have. You either watch it or you don't. Cable doesn't give you very much choice in terms of that, network wise, right? You have a choice of channels, but network wise, if you go to Bravo, all right, this is what we have. You either take it or you don't. But you go to a Netflix, you have the choice to watch what you want when you want to watch it. You can wait for things to build up and then watch it on demand. They're adding more streaming, meaning live streaming events, because this is something that is working. So they're going to do and I'm not a boxing fan, but there is a boxing match that is planned between Paul Logan and Mike Tyson. So that's going to be interesting when it does debut, and that's going to be streaming live. But other than that, it's mostly on demand type of stuff. Okay. So let's talk about what's happening there. They're licensing far fewer films these days. Okay. So they don't license out their series and films to others. Their originals, they don't. And now they're stopping the brakes on how many films they are licensing from others. Because here's the thing. Most of the programs, unless it's a Netflix original, most of the programs and movies you see there are not things they produce. So they are licensing them, meaning they have a license and permission to show because they have paid a fee for these things, right? And so they're licensing fewer and fewer of these things. In the second half of 2023, which is July 1st through December 31st, Netflix had acquired 7,700 films in their library. Or not that they did. They had 7,700 films that they had acquired in their library. Let me say that properly. So that sounds like a lot. And it is, until you consider that that's 20% lower than what the service had in the first 6 months of the year. Interesting. So in this case, when they say acquire, they're talking about content that is licensed to Netflix, like its current number one film on the platform, Godzilla Minus One. Has anybody seen that? I just have to say I have no desire to see that. I'm not into Godzilla films, but if you are, it's there if you would like to. So it's licensed and not movies that it bought outright. Okay, like they'll go to film festivals and buy the rights outright, or the ones that they produce for themselves. Okay, so they're licensing less and less films. So this is interesting. What does this mean for independent content creators or independent filmmakers? Well, if they're licensing less of these films, then it follows that you have to be prepared for other modes of distribution. If all your eggs were going into the Netflix is going to buy this from me basket, this shows that you may be sadly disappointed. So as an independent content creator, and I'm giving you advice as somebody who owns an independent platform, you have to say to yourself, so what are my plans for well, first of all, what is my goal for this? When you make a film and you spend money and time on a film, obviously you want for people to see it. And you do want to make at least the money back that you spent on it, right? So we know that that's the case. But what are your goals? What are the goals? Outline what your goals are for that. Then you have to try and see if you can find a platform that aligns with that goal. Too often, too many filmmakers go for the big 5 or the big 3 or the big whatever they are and don't consider other modes of distribution. Are there smaller independent outlets, for example, like mine, that you could go with? Could you self-distribute? Could you just say, you know what, I'm going to release it on something like a Vimeo or a YouTube and do that? Or put it behind a paywall and make it a private video so people can access it, right? So you have to think about that. So this right here points to a bigger thing of what do you do when you are, and I'm talking just about indies, when you're an independent creator, and this is what happens. All right, so that's that. Good for you. All right, let's do a little bit of tech and then a little bit of pop culture, because we're gonna have to get ready to vamoose soon, and yeah, I don't want to leave you all um, hanging with the tech and pop culture part of it. All right, so let's do a little bit of tech. Come on. All right, so today in tech we have a couple of things that I would like to talk about, or actually one thing. All right, we'll do a tech and we'll do a pop culture so that we can get this done. Facebook is on a mission to win back Gen Z. Yeah, and I'm sure you all have Facebook accounts and you use Facebook. Or let me know, do you use Facebook? And tell me, you could tell me what generation you are. If you are like Gen X or above, you're probably using it. If you're a millennial or above, you may or may not be using it. If you're a younger millennial, man, I'm even like Facebook. It's a necessary evil because I do have audience members there, so I want to make sure that they are included in the conversation. But Facebook, nah. But anyway, Facebook does not appeal to younger users. Gen Z is not using Facebook. And so they think, Meta that is, thinks that they have a lot to offer them. All right, well, we'll see. So they're trying to shake their reputation as a hangout spot for people that were born before personal computing was a thing. They recently unveiled a plan to win over Gen Z, which makes up just a small minority of its users. So this is what they're trying to do here. They're not trying to convince users that Meta is cool. They lost that fight when grandparents were poking into and see what their grandkids were doing. Once older people get on a platform, younger users then decide that it is no longer cool. So that's a lost cause, Facebook. So that's not what they're trying to do. They're trying to convince Gen Z that Facebook is useful. So they're trying to put things forth that they can use as they circumnavigate adulting, or navigate adulting, I should say. So, for example, Facebook groups, right? Facebook Marketplace. A lot of Facebook Marketplace could be their cash cow, because if you've never seen it, this is where you can sell or buy things from people in your community, or even away. It could be shipped, but with everything you have to be careful. But here's the thing. I bought my dining table on Facebook Marketplace and it is beautiful. I got such a good price and people rave about it. Facebook Marketplace. If I were to buy it new, it probably would have been thousands. So it's a great thing. And this is what Gen Z looks at. They like value. So they're bargain hunting and they're looking for things. So this is why this works. And here's another thing. They're saying Facebook dating. I don't know about you, but I'm not too keen on using Facebook to date. But apparently, this is what they're putting out there as something that could be useful for them. And so they're envisioning 20-somethings hitting up the Big Blue app to navigate things like, as I said, like marketplace, groups, and dating. And here's the thing. It's already popular with Facebook Marketplace is already popular with young bargain hunters. 1 in 4 active daily Facebook users are between the ages of 18 and 29 that use Facebook Marketplace. So I think that's something that they need to lean into. Facebook and Meta have a habit. I don't know if you all know, but I call Facebook master of none. They do a lot of things, but nothing particularly well. So instead of being master of none, let's lean into the things that you're doing well, huh? Let's do that. You've got some devices, some hardware like formerly Oculus, but it's now a Meta Quest, no longer the Oculus Quest, the VR headset. They also just came out with a line of glasses that you could use to take pictures and listen to music, like eyeglasses. They're Ray-Bans. All right, so you have that. So you might do the hardware thing really well. And now, if Facebook Marketplace is popular, lean into these things. Listen, go and use the talents that God has given you. You know, when we get into trouble, when we try to do things that God says, I didn't tell you to do. That's not what I told you to do. Lean into the talents that God has given you, Facebook. Lean into those talents. How about we do that? So hopefully they will start to do that. And they're looking to rejuvenate. And it's still out whether or not they're going to be able to do that. But we'll have a better idea of whether or not this works in maybe a few quarters. All right. So that's it. And then, you know what? Let's do one pop culture story. That's our tech story for today because we're running out of time. But let's do a pop culture story. I got a pop culture intro for you. Here we go. Okay, you know what? I'm going to make a promise that I'm going to change the music because I realize you all that are listening can't tell the difference between the different segments because you can't see it. So I'm going to switch the segments and I'm going to switch the music. Am I going to do that for today? Probably not. But for next week, I will have something different for you all. So let's talk about another one of the Caribbean queens. Rihanna has announced the launch of Fenty Hair. Yes, so she's already a beauty mogul. She's got a underwear and lingerie and loungewear, the Savage by Fenty. She's got the Fenty makeup line, and now she's got Fenty Hair, which is actually launching on the 13th. So if you go to fentyhair.com, you're going to be able to watch the promo video and sign up for some exclusive discounts. It is now she's billing this as a line that is for all hair textures. Okay, so it is for different types of hair textures, and it is about reparative. It has reparative properties. So that is a big thing, restoring and repairing. If you all know, I don't know if they sell it there, but Olaplex is a big line that's about hair restoration, right? Everybody tends to use it. So I'm interested to see what products are in this line that are going to be reparative and restoring and just all around great. Now, if her, what she's done with Fenty, Savage by Fenty, and with her makeup line is any indication, I'm expecting great things from this. Now, you'll know that just a few months ago, has it even been 2 months yet? Beyonce launched Sacred, which is her hair care line. And I've heard some good things about it. I've heard some people that there's some things they don't like about it. But what we do know is there are many celebrities that are getting into the hair care space. Rihanna will not be the last. I'm sure we're going to hear more about that, particularly when it comes to addressing all types of textures. So, you know what? This is a far cry from even like just 5 to 7 years ago where we're still looking. I mean, we had hair products, but now it has really exploded. And if you are a person of color and you have textured hair, you're going to be able to take care of your hair. You just have to find the right products to do it. So congrats to Rihanna on Fenty Hair. Again, it drops on the 13th. If you go to her website, you'll be able to sign up if you're interested in trying the products. And there are some exclusive discounts. All right. I have talked enough. Ladies and gentlemen, I love you with all my heart. I am so honored and privileged that I have the ability to come and speak with you all every week about something I love, media, tech, and pop culture. If you are ever wanting to see me, I don't know why, you don't have to, but you could also watch this the day before on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitch, on X, and several different places as well. You can also watch on Instagram because I do it on my Instagram page as well. So if you want to watch tonight and hang out with us, please feel free. And with that, I'm going to say this. I love you for listening and watching if you choose to watch. I bid you adieu, you all, myself, and this great information. Let's exit stage left. Until next week, my good Gospel 107 friends. Cheers.
Close the doors, walk across the corridor. We got something to show you. Media is our repertoire. Fed up with the same use, no channel to use. Cruise control mentalities. Here we offer you, we gon' show you.